Howdy, folks. Big Ed Barnham here from Big Ed Barnum's Bauble Barning Garden and Barnum Book Club and 5 other associated establishments and projects with a very important message for you. It's time for Barnum Book Club number 2, the second in the series, not the synonym for poop. The number 2, not that number 2. We're elevating the humor already. I expect some travelers. I expect some stragglers this morning and some coughing. A lot of folks I know that normally join us are at PAX South, which I was going to watch this morning on Twitch, a competing streaming platform. I was going to watch some of the PAX South coverage this morning on Twitch, but apparently the schedule for that, actually they should be starting any moment now. Actually, maybe their feature presentation anyway. So they're running concurrently with us. So there's probably a lot of other people doing other things right now. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about TKO Studios. It is a new publishing company that is putting out comic books, and they're doing it a couple of different ways. Here, let me get off the PAX Twitch stream so that I stop having things in my eyeball that are... Hi, Kathy. Anyway, I had some distractions there. TKO Studios is a new comic publishing company. They're doing things a little differently, but 2 major things that they're doing differently are, one is they are direct to the retailer. They're skipping the whole comics distribution model entirely, which there's a blessing and a curse with that. The retail, it really puts the responsibility on the retailer, your comic book store, to deal with another set of orders instead of just ordering things through their normal distributor. They have to deal with TKO Studios directly. I don't know if that'll persist or not. And then I suppose the benefit is it allows TKO Studios to reduce a little bit of cost while letting the retailer still, get their cut. It eliminates the middleman, literally. You can still, so you can get them at your local comic book shop. You can also order them direct online. The second thing that TKO Studios is doing a little bit differently is currently they're releasing 6 titles, 6 issues of a title at one time. That way you don't have to wait 6 months, or sometimes the way, the schedules work, writers and artists are working on several projects. So on a good run, you don't have to wait 6 months, occasionally 9 months for 6 issues. You get them all at once. And that format works for the most part. There's a couple of these stories that I think they would be better told in 8 issues as opposed to 6. But it sort of lets you binge read things all at once without having to collect them over time, which sort of catering to that binge watching TV thing. I'm good. I'm just going to check in here. I don't have a cold anymore, but I still have an uncontrolled cough. Hopefully all the germs are just confined to this space here. Hopefully you're not going to get sick watching this stream. You might become sick by watching this stream, but it'll be more of a, oh, that's sick, more than you being physically ill. So TKO Studios, the first 4 titles have been released. They were released, I think, just a few weeks before Christmas, maybe right after Thanksgiving. Sales seem to be brisk. Their social media posting on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot is certainly brisk. And the stuff is good. It's good stuff. I have a couple problems here and there, but the stuff it's good stuff. And I'm going to talk about each book individually. While I don't think I have a cold anymore, but maybe I do. Let's see. So I'm going to talk about each title separately. I'm going to come back and talk about TKO Studios a little more at the end, and we'll do some other things. I was going to kick off with New York Times review of books, and I looked at it this morning, and I was just like, there's nothing in here I really want to talk about, so I'm going to skip that. Hang on, I'm going to skip it. Skipped. All right. Let's see. I feel like we should just jump right into it. I feel like I should go to this screen while I blow my nose. I should probably mute as well. I should call this the mercy screen. There we go. It's a real tissue. It wasn't me just blowing my nose in my hand like a farmer. No offense to farmers, or blowing your nose in your hand. We've all done it. I know we have. We've all blown something into our hand. I'll stop. Let's see who else we got over here. It's a slow morning. I know there are a lot of folks at PAX. There are a lot of folks sleeping in. Well, at least on the East Coast. East Coast. I'm on the East Coast. Emotionally, I'm on the East Coast. Physically, I'm on the West Coast. Hi, Boxhead Man. How are you doing? I haven't, Boxhead Man, I apologize. I have not hopped on your streams for probably over a week. I'm sure you noticed. Anyway, thanks for joining, Boxhead Man. And Stoner Roo. I think Stoner Roo followed yesterday sometime. So what we're doing, we're talking about comics. So here's a disclaimer. I am not the most prolific reader of comics as some of you who are probably later watching this stream. I dabble, and then I go a long period of drought where I don't read comics, sometimes close to a year, and then I have a big splurge where I just go spend way too much money, usually on trade paperbacks, just because I don't want I don't want 500 issues of comics lying around the office when a couple dozen trade paperbacks that collect those things can do that job for me. I was saying something. Oh yeah, so I'll go long periods where I don't read comics, and then I'll just have a 2-3 month splurge where I spend a bunch of money on them or borrow them and catch up, so to speak. Catch up with what the cool kids are reading. That's floor's a little wet. Hence my stool's a little wet. Take that for what it means. The stool I'm sitting on is wet. So I feel like that's enough of me acting like a jackass. Hi, Diane West. Diane, Kathy, I'm going to be talking about your favorite thing this morning, comic books. Sorry. Cole Screaming Eagle Wilson is not here with me. Cole Screaming Eagle Wilson is on his way to Sarasota Springs, New York. It really when you start saying Sarasota Springs, it feels like your mouth and brain are gonna say Florida for some reason. But Sarasota, now I'm doubting it. Is there a Sarasota Springs, New York? I hope, because that's where he said he was going. Soda, Springs, not spine, Springs. Maybe I have my geography all messed up. Okay, there is a Sarasota Springs, New York. Looks like it's outside of, north of Albany, maybe. Anyway, Cole Screaming Eagle Wilson is not here today. He's on his way to Sarasota Springs, New York, to see a Laotian woman who he likes to have cut his hair. As you know, Cole normally has very long locks of hair that he has clipped weekly. Anyway, I think he's having a torrid love affair with a Laotian hairdresser. Anyway, so hopefully he'll be. Actually, he won't be back next week. I'm pretty sure this is a week spanning 2 weekend trip for him. I told myself I wasn't going to choke. Let's see. So I'm going to get started. I'm going to review these and talk about these in order of least enjoyment to most enjoyment. And to start with that, let's go. Let's reach over the delicate technology here. And let's go to our insert. Going to be looking first at the 7 Deadly Sins, written by Se-Chun, drawn by, I have to look at the screen for this, and I just, Artyom Trakhanov, and with coloring by Julia Brusko. I almost said Bruska, and I shouldn't have said it with a Russian accent there. Julia Bruska. This is a comic that tells the story largely. I'm just gonna cheat and read my notes here. This is a story of returning things to rightful owners or making things right with people who have been wronged. Not necessarily wronged by you, but possibly wronged by other members of your family and whatnot. And returning things to rightful owners and trying to make things right, even when you know you can't. Add to that greed, revenge, whatever noble effort you're trying to make in doing something, no matter what right you're trying to wrong, add some greed, add some revenge, it's going to go sideways. And it does go sideways here in 7 Deadly Sins. Let's see. Where to start with this? It is Texas, 1867. Let me pull up, let me do a little magic here. Nope, that's not it. Yeah. We'll get it here in a second. There we go. So it is 1867, Texas. The Civil War is barely over. We're in the middle of Reconstruction. We are trying to make peace with the Southern Plains Indians, with I think it's the Medicine Lodge Treaty that would go on to be not ratified and not quite honored by either side. Probably up through 1904, 1905, when the Supreme Court had to settle things. So it's really the story of about 7 people, 7 different convicts who are. It's almost sort of like is it Kelly's Heroes, where they have the guys who are. I'm gonna open up some sort of energy drink here. It's not Kelly's Heroes I'm thinking of. It's there's the movie where Lee Marvin takes the guys who are all condemned to death, military trials. Hi, Dark Wolf. And it's sort of that. Here's 7 people, each representing a different deadly sin. It's not quite that literal. Sort of trying to redeem themselves, even though they may not necessarily be motivated by possible redemption, going on what is largely a suicide mission. And the story's good, the writing's good. I do not like the artwork in this. There's a style of artwork in comics that I want to call it gargly, because it's just, I don't know why that word comes to mind, but I just don't like Artyom Trakhanov's artwork in this, and Julia Bruska, who has done some other stuff, as we will see in one of these others, as a colorist, does a lot of great work, and can't save this. So it's a good story, it's good writing. I'm just not in love with it. And if I go back here, I did this silly thing here. Let me take these things off. These numbers here kind of show how I feel about the story and the writing, and what I feel about the artistic side of it, the execution of it. I might throw lettering off here. I don't think I've ever seen lettering that I was just like, that lettering is so awful, I'm offended. I don't think I've ever read a comic, a professionally produced comic, in which lettering was a problem. I still gave it a 4, though. One of the things, and I was going to save this till the end, there's a few different ways that you can buy comics from TKO Studios. You can buy them digitally, read them on your... I hope you didn't hear that little growl that just came out as I was talking. You can buy TKO Studios comics digitally. I think they are $14.99 for a full run of 6, which is reasonably priced by comic standards. Or for $3 more, you can buy it's not a reprint because it's going out there at the same time, the trade paperback version that collects those 6. Or you can buy the 6 separate, their own little, it's not quite a folder, it's not quite a box, it's both. It's a boxder, I don't know, boxelder. And I think that's $24.99. The thing, so here's my thinking. If I'm going to spend $14.99 for something that is a virtual piece of something, I'd rather spend $3 more and get the physical thing. At least it has some resale value, or I'm not tied to. And I haven't checked the copyright protection on the digital stuff. It might be fairly easily shareable. But this, I could hand to somebody and say, hey, here you go, have at it. The one thing that is a slight disappointment in the trade paperback collection is you do not get the individual covers reproduced as if you had bought the 6 separate issues. You go from end of an issue to a black page to chapter 6. There is no cover from the original thing. And I assume this is the cover of issue 1. I can only assume. I need to go back and take a look at that. In fact, I'll pull it up right now. TKO presents, it's TKO Studios, but it's TKOpresents.com. So I'm going to pull up the 7 Deadly Sins page here, and I'm going to go to, so this goes back to the pricing structure here. Actually, I got this wrong. Digital, it's $13.99. The paperback, trade paperback, $17.99, and then you can get the collector's box with the individual issues. And I've already forgotten what I was going to come here and take a look at. I think we'll just go over to their Instagram account here for a second. And so Sara, it looks like, we'll take a look at Sara at the end. But it looks like the cover on the trade paperback might be the issue 1 cover. Let me see if I can get 7 Deadly. Let me see if they pulled out 7 Deadly Sins and did the same thing. So it looks like if you buy the trade paperback, this is a guess. This is the cover of issue 1, and then if you turn to the back, you get a little bit of flavor of what the cover of the second issue is. It's a little annoying that you don't get the cover art from the 6 issues in the trade paperback. I guess it's an incentive to spend a little more money, but it's kind of annoying. I think that TKO Studios as a whole, what they're doing, I think that is the only thing I can really complain about, is the lack of covers in the trade paperback. And, you know, I carry enough weight in this town that I'm sure they're going to change that with the next ones they're going to release. Just going to check in with folks here. Let's see. See who we got on Facebook. So, moving along. So I think that covers everything that I want to say about 7 Deadly Sins. Let me just see. So, wrapping it up, story's good, the writing's good. I just the art. There are panels in this that I had to work to figure out what's really going on. And I don't know if that's, are they trying to challenge me? Is it just a bad job? Do I not read enough comics? Am I not comic literate? I don't quite know what's going on there. But there were some panels where I just couldn't quite tell what was going on. And then eventually I was just sort of like, I don't care. So I would move through it fairly quickly. Se Chun, who's the guy who wrote this, is actually one of the co-founders of TKO Studios. He wrote 7 Deadly Sins. Great writing, bad art. I'll stop saying that. He also wrote another one that we're going to take a look at in a minute. Se Chun is a writer, producer for TV. I think Gotham has wrapped season 5, or it's in production. I don't know, but he was a writer producer on Gotham, which is a Fox channel show. He was also writer producer for ABC's Once Upon a Time, which I think I've seen one episode, and I was just like, oh, this is cute and quaint and not up my alley. And a few people have said, yeah, you should go watch it. It's fun. You should go watch it. So Se Chun, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is the writer of 7 Deadly Sins. And also the Fearsome Doctor Fang, which we're going to look at here in just a moment. After I take a drink of what's not a terrible energy drink, it's just an energy drink. Wait, do they market it as energy drink? Sparkling antioxidant infusion. Just like our ancestors always drank. Let's see. I'm going to delete some assets on the fly here. I'm sure you don't care. But I'm just going to do a couple things here. All right, I'll stop that. Which gives us those. Let's see. Moving right along. We're going to take 7 Deadly Sins, and we're just going to put it right back there. I'm going to blow out the microphone as I do that. And I'm going to move the Fearsome Doctor Fang. And I'm going to flip a page so I can get to my notes. See, I take notes. Like, yeah, I take notes on stuff. Here we go. And you don't believe that I take notes? You don't believe I have a plan on stuff? Here, boom, there you go. There's all the notes I had for. Let me make sure somebody's phone number is not on here or anything like that. Buy myself some big boy panties. Oh no, I'm joking. Anyway, that's what the show notes look like. I should probably just take a photo of this and post it. Post it on Discord. I'm sorry, post it on what? Post it on Discord. Bam. I'll put these show notes on Discord later. All right, so second one we're going to take a look at The Fearsome Doctor Fang, which is also written by Sei Chun, and then some folks that I have to say these names were new to me. Mike Weiss is a TV writer, and I went to IMDb to see his credits, and there are a lot of Mike Weisses who work in the TV and movie industry. But I did find one that I think he's got about a dozen or so writing credits for television, mostly sitcoms and dramas, cop dramas, that sort of thing. And Daniela Miwa, I did not know her stuff. I actually went to her website. Actually, I'm going to pull her website up because I actually liked her stuff quite a bit. She's the colorist on it. So written by Sei Chun. Written by? I even have notes on this one. Okay, so Sei Chun and Mike Weiss co-wrote this. Dan McDade's the artist, and Daniela Miwa is the colorist. And where I think, where the artwork and the coloring in The Seven Deadly Sins does not work, at least for me, it's just the style that I don't like. The art and the Fearsome Dr. Fang and the coloring, I like quite a bit. So, Daniela, you'd think it would come right up. Oh, I see other things that we searched for on another podcast to come up. It's not like embarrassing or anything. Let's see if I can type it. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Let me take some of this stuff off here. So Fearsome Dr. Fang. I think this goes here. Let's take a look at some of this stuff here. It looks like she did all of the color art on all of the covers. The covers for Fearsome Dr. Fang, I like them quite a bit. They're pretty cool. But she has also done a lot of other stuff that her name was new to me, and I've not read. I should. The Doc Savage stuff, I'm pretty sure I've taken a look at. I just didn't recognize the name. And then I've not read the Battlestar Galactica stuff. So there's a lot of stuff here that she's worked on that I have not. I've just not seen it. Doc Savage. I'm a fan. And yeah, so good stuff there. So I'm lingering on her. I should look at, see what else. Let's see. Where's the name? Dave McDade. Was that what it was? Dan McDade. I'm going to look him up here as well. Because we got all morning. Did you mean Dan McDade? Dan McDade. Okay, we'll go to Wikipedia. Oh, he's the guy who does the Firefly stuff. Okay, so I have seen some of his stuff. So, The Fearsome Dr. Fang starts in San Francisco, 1904, right around the time something happens in San Francisco. You should know what that is. But if you don't, it's okay. And The Fearsome Dr. Fang is sort of when I was first reading it, it felt like the old 1930s and 1940s Flash Gordon serials, where it was a cliffhanger. You have a lot of swashbuckling adventure, half Indiana Jones, half Flash Gordon, very pulpy in its portrayal of characters and approach. And it also plays with stereotypes quite a bit. There's a, the woman who is, and I'm stealing this line from someone else. The woman who would normally be the person in the on the adventure team who's always the damsel in distress is largely the damsel who's doing the distressing. She's not screwing around. And it is it's the story of people trying to search for something. Kubla Khan's puzzle box. Actually, the female character steals it. Hang on, something's about to fall over. Not necessarily about to fall over, but I don't like the way it is perched. Excuse me. Excuse me. There we go. Ah, yeah. Yeah. Hi, the Spit. Thanks for joining. The Great Fire and the Great Earthquake. Where was I? So the woman in the I've forgotten every name in this comic except the Fearsome Doctor Fang, and one of the reasons why you can't forget the Fearsome Doctor Fang is every time he's on the scene and something dramatic is about to happen, every time he strikes or lashes out, he shouts, "I am the Fearsome Doctor Fang!" And it's pretty funny. The comic is pretty funny. Seven Deadly Sins is all grit. There's a little bit of comedy in Seven Deadly Sins, but it's very gritty. The Fearsome Doctor Fang. I suddenly feel like I'm going at 55 miles over the speed limit. I'm going too fast. Hang on. I'll take a drink. So the Fearsome Doctor Fang. A woman steals Kubla Khan's puzzle box because it supposedly holds the key to Kubla Khan's vault, in which he keeps the secrets of power for, I can't remember the time frame for Kubla Khan, but 2,000 years. The Fearsome Doctor Fang is a villain at first, but not quite. I'm not really spoiling anything there because what is he is questioned fairly early. And, if you want combat in the underground of San Francisco, if you want combat on trains and planes, there's no combat on automobiles. If you want your action taking place in the Arctic or on top of a volcano, if you like Fast and Furious action, the story here is really good. Let me go back over here. Fearsome Dr. Fang. Let's see. We'll do solo there. Boom, boom. I'm giving this high marks. The story, I feel like it suddenly felt like revising that on the fly. But the story, I'm giving it 4 and 5. This one comes in way higher on my totally arbitrary, artificial scoring system. Everything about this is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's all pretty good. The only thing that I have as a dig at the Fearsome Dr. Fang is it feels like it's an 8-issue story that got shoved into 6 issues. It feels like nothing has time to grow organically from a story standpoint, from the writing. It feels very, we've got to rush from one action sequence to the next. And that's sort of in line with, you know, pulp novels and all of those old school cliffhanger serials, going back to, you know, the Flash Gordon thing. For some reason, the first issue, I kept thinking of the Flash Gordon serials. Just looking at my notes. It's a good read. I just wish it had had a little more time to breathe. And I think maybe 7 issues. 8 might have strung it along too much. But from page 1, it's running and gunning. There's no downtime in it, and that's fine. I just kind of want something, you know, I want to sit back and relish something. And 2 titles that we're coming up on will take care of that. So the Fearsome Doctor Fang. Actually, at first, I can't remember why my scores on it were low, and then I sat over it, sat with it for sat on it, sat over it. It sat around on my mind for a couple days, and then it grew on me. So there's that. I feel fine. I don't think I'm actively sick, but there's a little bit of chest congestion. I got some gunk in my junk. Sorry, I mean, by junk I mean lungs. And by gunk I mean phlegm. Hello! I'm going to go over and check the individual things over here because... hey, that one black guy, thanks for joining. That one black guy, I think you're at home. I don't think you went to PAX with all the other crazy people. Sorry, with all the other fine young people that like to go to cons. I'm just checking out the aggregated chat thing that I use. So I'm streaming to Mixer, Facebook, and YouTube all at once. And Restream lets me bring all that chat into one aggregated view. What it does not let me do is see who joins, who does, if somebody drops a command. It doesn't let me see that stuff. So occasionally, you know, I'm looking at chat most of the time, but occasionally I will hop over and check the individual streams on the platform to which I'm streaming, just to see who may have joined. That was a long road to say nothing. But thanks for joining, that one black guy. Thanks for joining. It's gonna do some hard drinking here. Thanks for the sparks, the spiv. I appreciate them, but you should be spending those on somebody who's partnered, because it's of monetary value to them. But I appreciate it. So that one black guy, we're talking about TKO Studios. I think I saw somebody else join on Facebook. We're talking about comics from TKO Studios. We've talked about 7 Deadly Sins, which, love the story, love the writing. I just can't stand the artwork in it. To the Fearsome Doctor Fang, which is a swashbuckling pulp. Is this a panel from it? Yeah. I think this is from the first page. You're just gonna knock in the door, arrest some people, bust some ass, and it just doesn't stop from there. And starts in 1904, and then I think a couple years transpire. I think it's 1906 by the time it transpires. By the time it ends. Hi, Boris. How are you? So that's the Fearsome Dr. Fang, which brings us to the halfway mark. Dr. Fang is old school. I like it because of that. And spoiler alert, one of these comics that we're going to talk about broke my heart. I didn't cry, but I felt like crying. And we'll get to it. Just hold your horses. We'll get to it. Sorry. Let's see. One of the things I was going to do, the Fearsome Doctor Fang, when he's at his most fearsome, it's because he's not had breakfast. And what makes a great breakfast? Dax Celebrity Canned Ham. It's the finest canned ham Denmark has to offer. It's 96% meat, 4% fat. Let me just make sure I'm getting that right. Yep. Oh, sorry. 96% fat-free, 4% fat. So when I said 96% meat, that's actually slightly incorrect. There's some brine in there. Let's see. Dax Celebrity Canned Ham with natural juices, gelatin added. It is the electrolytic ham. And it is... I can't say it's the official Celebrity Canned Ham. I can't say it's anything official at all for the Barnham Book Club because our relationship with the folks that bring us Dax Celebrity Canned Ham, the Atalanta Corporation, we have no official relationship. Ham prevents villains and general antagonists. I agree. And I think, if there was more ham products in the world, I think the world might be a more peaceful place, in general. Whether you're a run-of-the-mill warlord or, a fully installed dictator, peace through ham. Nobody said that, but I just did, because I'm an idiot. Dax Celebrity Canned Ham, it's the finest canned ham Denmark has to offer, and I am not paid to say that. Oh, and just so you know, this one's fake. It's not fake, it's just empty, because Cole and I ate it. That one up there is real. It's got the... Anyway. I don't know what I'm trying to prove. I don't know anything. I do know... Hi, Triggy. I do know that I seem to be unable to drink enough. And I don't mean that I can't drink enough. I can't drink enough to kill the pain. I mean, I just seem to be super dehydrated the last 3 weeks. Yeah. So the Fearsome Doctor Fang, we're bringing that in at number 3. I don't know. It's the second one we've done. It's the third. Anyway. No, numbers, rated R. The Streets of San Francisco, tonight's episode. Numbers. I just felt like David Letterman there for saying, like, leaning in, like it's like, blah 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 blah. Lean in because I'm gonna deliver the goods here. Here's a setup and a punchline, and then just fall flat on my face. Next up. Let me get my notes for... Let me learn how to work a notebook. No, that's the wrong one. No, that's 7 Deadly Sins. Goodnight Paradise. Here we go. Yeah, Goodnight Paradise. Goodnight Paradise. Let's see. A couple of things about Goodnight Paradise. Julia Brusco is the colorist on this. And whereas the artwork in Goodnight Paradise is great, I love it. Sorry, where the artwork in 7 Deadly Sins annoys me and I don't like it, the artwork in Goodnight Paradise I love. This stream at the moment is about books, and today we're talking about some comic book stuff. Here, let me take that back off so you can see. So one of the things I like about the artwork in Goodnight Paradise is it has sort of a mixed media feel to it at times, and I think this cover here kind of displays that. You have realism mixed with it's kind of meta art isn't kind of it, but you know there's mixed media approach here kind of going on because there's splatters from the pen or the paintbrush, and even if that's digital, you know, it's done digitally. It has a real feel to it. Thanks for the follow there, Triggy. And whereas Julia Brusco, her coloring can't do anything to save the artwork in the Seven Deadly Sins, the artwork and the coloring that's going on in Goodnight Paradise it's good. I like it. In fact, I love it. And one of the things, so I'm just going to cheat here and read what I wrote because I can't memorize anything. This is a story of what's happening a lot in cities. There's a lot of people falling through the cracks. Can't remember the guy's name. Eddie Quinones is the lead character here. He's homeless. And it's really the story. There's a lot of things going on here. It takes place on Venice Beach, California, which we've all seen. All kinds of TV shows, movies have had. I think the opening of Three's Company is on Venice Beach. No, anyway, Three's Company too. We all have we all have, you know, most of us, I'll say most of us have some visual reference of what Venice Beach is like. And for the most part, it's hot girls on roller skates, Chrissy and Janet misplacing the month's rent, just all kinds of bodybuilders on the beach. I think Hulk Hogan was one of those Venice Beach bodybuilders before he actually started wrestling. And one of the things, and I don't have a panel for this electronically, one of the things I will do, let me go with this one. I don't know if this works or not. Let me get my ugliness out of there. This plane that's dumping, you know, the flame retardant on the fire. There's a lot of stuff in here. You know, Venice Beach can be a hot place, and the artwork and the coloring here and the alcoholism and the murder are all it's good stuff. The story's good, the artwork's good, the writing of the story in itself is good, but it's largely a homeless guy has a chance encounter with a young homeless person, and he largely just, you know, ignores this young person having a problem because, you know, even he is, you know, there's only so much stuff you can take in and only so many things that you can deal with. And even a homeless person, sometimes it's like, I can't get involved in that person's business. And later, he gets involved in that person's business because that person is murdered. And that sounds like a bit of a spoiler, but it happens very early. And then the subsequent 5 issues are about him trying to solve that murder when it's fallen through the cracks, even though it's a young girl, even though it's someone who there should be every reason in the world to try and solve her murder. Eddie Quinones, homeless alcoholic who has mental problems, seems to be her only advocate. the only person trying to make sure that she does not fall through the cracks. I think that may have been more eloquent than I'd planned it to be. So I should probably shut up. Goodnight Paradise. So one of the things I forgot to mention, and here, let me grab a link to this, is the first issue of all of these is available on the website, and I should have dropped it for all of these. Here, let me drop this in Mixer. That link will take you to the first issue of Goodnight Paradise. And the first issue, pardon me, the first issue of all of these is available from the TKO website, so that you can get a taste of what each one is about. You can get a good look at the artwork and the writing and the style. So it's pretty good. I wish I had read the first episode of the 7 Deadly Sins first. I may have saved myself $14 had I done so. But I've wasted more money on dumber, riskier stuff. So I'm not going to lament that purchase. Hey, Accident Prone 1994, I haven't seen you in a while. Or if I have, I just haven't realized it. Thanks for joining us again. Thanks, Triggy. One of the things, I'm using a streaming platform that it's kind of meant more for professional interview type stuff. And it's great for that. Where it falls down is it's not, there's certainly no FTL support for things like Mixer. There's very few, it's not open source. It's not OBS or XSplit or anything like that. So anything where, you want to do Streamlabs overlays, stuff like that, it's just totally not supported by this platform. If you're gaming, it's called Switcher Studio, and I'm not trying to sell it or anything. It's called Switcher Studio. It is iOS. It's exclusive to iOS. So I'm doing the switching on an iPad. I have all the overlays and inserts here. That is an iPhone camera. This is an iPhone camera. Occasionally we will have a third camera, Cole's camera. This is just the laptop desktop. So it's good for that. It's good for just streaming. It's good for talking head streaming, taking Skype calls and bringing those in. As soon as you want to play a game and stream gaming, it just doesn't work. So I appreciate that. And I don't know if you wanted that background at all on how we're doing this. I forgot what I was talking about. I appreciate that comment. Goodnight Paradise. I feel like I've said everything about it that I want to say. Just looking at my notes. One of the things I like about Goodnight Paradise is the way, and I'm just going to go back to this shot here. Eddie, the main character, has some mental issues. He sees things occasionally. He has blackouts might not be the right word, but there are times where he's seeing things and he's having a moment. His mental illness is flaring up, isn't quite the right word, but it's coming into play. And this sort of mixed media approach tends to invade some of the panels. And I don't think what I have on here, let me just go back to the... Let me go back to the screen itself, or the page itself. And I'm not seeing anything jumping out at me. I do know one of them is, and this isn't a spoiler, he's talking with someone, and over the course of a few frames inside the panel, he sees a bird coming out of their mouth. And it's really well done. Goodnight Paradise, written by Joshua Dysart or Dysart. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that. And actually, the name did not ring a bell. Let's go see what else he's worked on. Just to get a frame of reference. Just so I can choke. Let's see, does he have his own website? Let me do that. Looks like he hasn't updated his site in 3 years. Let's go to Twitter. I think I saw... Oh, there it is. Actually, let's see if he's posted any art on Instagram. I don't know why I did Instagram. Yep, not seeing any comic artwork here. So I'm just going to go back. I think there was a Wikipedia article. I just want to know what else he's worked on that I may have overlooked. Some Swamp Thing. Anyway. It's good stuff. I'll just Ooh, what a weak way to end that. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. TKO Studios, the third one of 4 we're going to look at. Now, I mentioned it earlier. One of these broke my heart and punched me in the guts and kicked me in the nuts. And that one is Sara. Let me just do this. Sara by Garth Ennis and Stephen Epting. Of course, everybody that's into comics, even just sticking a toe in, should probably know who Garth Ennis is. He's the guy behind Preacher. He's the guy behind Preacher, and then suddenly just my whole mind goes blank. Sara is where I don't know what I want up on the screen here. Sara is the story of Russian female snipers. I think it's 1943. The siege of Leningrad is going on. It's World War II. And it's about a group, a dozen or so, 15 or so women snipers who are outside the area of the siege, but are on a day-to-day basis going on missions, sniper missions, basically, for the motherland. And let me switch my thing here. See? I got notes. You want notes? I got your notes. I got your notes right there. I don't know why suddenly I went like... I don't know why I do anything. So let's see. The story of women Russian snipers during the siege of Leningrad. It's the story of doing right by your country, even if it's not doing right by you. Mild spoiler. Anyway, let's see. one of the things, so there's one thing that I like a lot about this. Let me pull up some of these panels here. This is the cover of issue 1. By the way, half the snipers are really hot. I just gonna say that. I'm just gonna say that and then feel mildly uncomfortable having said that. Because I'll stop that right now. All right, so this is the cover of issue 1, and it is so. One of the things I don't want to spoil this just yet, and I need to make sure I'm doing it in the right order. All right, so I just had to get something squared away. So, 6 issues, women snipers, and one of the things about this, and this is sort of counterpoint to the Fearsome Doctor Fang, where every panel, every frame and every panel is just action, 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 action. It never lets up. A story about snipers is largely a story about waiting and being patient. And it's not just a lesson and a necessity as a sniper. It's something that you get to experience a little bit in Sara. There are a lot of panels where there's very little dialogue. Even if it's an interior monologue of sorts, it's very quiet. It's very short. And it is, I know I've said this a couple times, it's really good stuff. And this is the one that, so I'll just say this, I have a degree in history with a minor concentration in military history. I know I sell a bunch of antiques and act like a jackass half the time, but I have a degree in that. So I knew the story of many of these women snipers. There are memoirs. Some of them did make it all the way through, as well as some of the German ones as well. German snipers, not women snipers. Anyway, so I was familiar with this story pretty much before I saw the comic, and I just see the back of the book. Nazi-occupied Russia, 1942. Fight hard, shoot straight, don't let them take you alive. So I was a little familiar with this before I picked it up. And one of the things I was concerned about was how much exposition is there going to be? How much explaining are they going to do about the circumstances? How much are they going to let us know? How much do we need to know about the siege of Leningrad? How much do we need to know about the progress on the Eastern Front of 1942? How much of any of that do we have to know in order to get into and enjoy this story? And one of the things that I like about it is in the writing of it, there's you are fed just enough so that if you don't know anything about it, you'll have some context for what's happening and what these women are going through. And it's really well done. And there are panels that have absolutely no writing in them. And the fun thing about it is, a panel with no writing, I can scan that in 5 seconds and know exactly what's going on. Oh, then I'm on the next page. And you could just zoom right through it, sorry, very quickly. But the patience of the sniper and the waiting and the discipline, I don't know. It's like the book forces you to go at that slow, steady pace without it forcing itself on you. It's not like, oh, slow down, take this in, take your time with it, sit with it, It's not like it's telling you to do that. It's just, it just unfolds in a way that you just kind of want to sit with it and take your time with it. Just organically, if that makes sense. Let's see. Just looking at my notes. I will say two things without spoiling anything. Oh, I will say two things without spoiling anything. One, I never knew a graphic novel could break your heart. Two, Sara will break your heart. Hopefully that's not spoiling anything. I would say, I feel like I'm switching to the overall view of things at the moment. But I'm not sure I want to get there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to say about Sara. Elizabeth Breitweiser is the color artist. Sebastian Gerner is the editor. Steve Epting is the artist. I can't say enough good things about this. And of the 4 trade paperbacks that I've looked at, I definitely recommend Sara. The only caveat is that it's not... It's my favorite of the 4. If you are looking to spend money on something that has a lot of words, has a lot of reading, has a lot of, is firmly grounded in text, it's probably not for you. But if you just want, if you want a good story, I don't know why I keep looking over here. It's like my hand's cold, and I just, for some reason, looking at my hand's going to warm it up. I like it. I like it a lot. I don't know what that's from. But Sara, and I realize now I just got away from my scoring methods here. Sara, to me, is the cream of this crop from TKO Studios. And while I'm at it talking about recommendations, I would definitely say read the first issue of all 4 that are available. And if you go to the link on one, you'll be able to get to the link of all of them, but I'll drop Sara in the thing here, so you can go check that out. It's one of the nice things about Sara is that about halfway through, I'm not going to say there's a twist, because I think, when someone says, "Oh, it's a story with a twist," when I hear with a twist, I usually just think that a writer wrote themselves into a corner, and then the only way they could get out of it was to, "Oh, this needs a twist." It's not a twist. There's a definite shift in the focus of the story, a tiny one, a tiny shift that has a huge impact on the story. That's all I'll say about that. But Sara is definitely the cream of the crop here. I realize now that I've got limited real estate here in front of the thing. I've got limited real estate here in front of the thing. I don't know why I'm talking like that. So those are the 4 things of TKO Studio that we're going to look at. Sara's a definite buy. Goodnight Paradise, I like it. I like the story, I like the art. Both of them are good. I think the cutoff point for me is definitely, read that first issue of 7 Deadly Sins, and if it doesn't connect, skip it. And the Fearsome Doctor Fang, I'm trying to figure out if I'm drawing the line above it or below it in terms of recommendation. If all you have is $14 to spend this month on comics, Sara is definitely the way to go. If you have $28 to spend on comics, I think Goodnight Paradise is the way to go. But be sure to read the first issues of Goodnight Paradise and the Fearsome Doctor Fang before you spend that second $14. I'm just going to take... I'm doing some hard drinking. I'm drinking Diet Coke and Bai Bubbles, the Bolivian black cherry sparkling antioxidant infusion. It sounds like a can of bullshit to me. Anyway, I opened this to take a drink and ended up taking it. I ended up... They're both... Yeah. I don't know where this is going. A couple things. I'm just making sure I don't have any other notes of things that I was gonna. Here, let me get my things up there. Let me get my overlays up there. Sure thing, Tree. Oh, I'd made a note to myself about female snipers in Sara. I spent a good part of the week, some of my downtime, watching Mixtifer play. I think it's Valkyria 4. It's a little tactical warfare game, and there's some women snipers in it. Women snipers in bikinis in that game. There are no bikinis in Sara. I don't know why I thought of that, but while I was reading Sara, Mixtifer was playing that. And then a couple of shout-outs that I'm going to give here. One of them, there's a guy, Stephen Carrington. He streams on Mixer as Carrington TV. I'll drop a link in a minute. At the end of one of his streams the other night, he mentioned something, and I don't know why I hadn't thought of this, because I actually use the app that he was mentioning. There's an app called Libby. I thought I had a link. Let me go to my notes. I do have a link to it. And I'm going to drop it. What about now? Can you hear me now? All right, so this has happened 3 times over the last 3 streams. Somewhere around the 75-minute mark, I just spontaneously lose the audio signal out of out of the iPad. Um, and I don't know if that's a limitation on Switcher Studio. I don't know if it's the fact that the iPad I'm using is 5 years old. I don't know what's happening there. It might also be I'm using Restream to push the stream out to 3 different platforms. There's about 5 different places where this stream could be bombing out. I'm just wondering. Yep, and it happened over on Facebook as well. So I have a feeling the problem is upstream of Mixer and Facebook. So it's either a Restream issue or I don't think it's hardware, but it could be. Anyway, what I was blabbing about before we lost sound was the Libby app. I'll just drop it here again. Here. And let me go over here. So if you don't have the money to drop on books, or you don't have the money to drop on audiobooks, but you have a library card or a mobile telephone number, you can use both of those things. Well, you can use both of them. You could use one or other of those things with the Libby app to check things out of your local library. And I haven't tested it yet, but I think it might even be outside. Like if you live in an area code, it might be the geographic limitations. I'm not sure of them. I live in Portland. I don't know if I could, and that's Multnomah County. I don't know if I could use it to check things out of the next county, Washington County, or other counties that the names of which I'm forgetting. But Stephen Carrington shouted that out the other night on his stream, and I was like, duh, we're talking about books half the time here. I don't know why I didn't point that out. So the Libby app, it's good. You can check things out of the library and then have them dumped to your Kindle or your desktop. I don't know if it supports other mobile formats, so that if you, and I also don't know if Amazon's getting a cut of any type of thing that you check out from your library. For us, it's free. We're checking it out for free. Well, I'm sure there are some tax dollars funneling through at some point, so we're paying for it somehow. But I don't know if Amazon's getting anything out of this other than the opportunity to keep tracks of your reading habits and offer you special deals on things in the Amazon store. But the Libby app, I've actually been using it for about 4 months now. In fact, if you watched the book stream from a couple of weeks ago, where I ran down the 44 books that I read last year, almost half of those books that I read last year were on Kindle. I still spend a lot of money on books, but I'm saving some money now. I know what I wanted to go look at. I wanted to go look at the next 4 things that are coming up from TKO Studios. Because the question to me, I bought all 4 of these pretty much sight unseen. I read the first issue of Sara and thought, I got to get that. And then while I was looking at that, I just went ahead and bought the other 3 titles without reading those, the first issues of those. I'm just pulling this up here. So I don't know the release date, but they have the next 4 titles that are ready to come out. we have... I'm going to go in reverse order. Am I going to go in reverse order? Yeah, I'll go in reverse order. Pound for Pound, I don't know much about it. I don't know these artists at all. But, you know, an MMA fighter tearing through, U.S.-Mexican border towns on a mission to rescue somebody. That sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty fun. And I don't know, a lot of these folks are coming from Southern Cross. I don't know that story at all. So I will definitely be reading. I don't think the first issue is available yet. But I'll definitely be reading the first issue of that. It kind of feels like something I want to buy. So that's the last one. I'm going to skip to the first one here. This is the one that I'm most conflicted about. I love Ming Doyle. I love her work. I have read Roxane Gay. I don't know what to think about this title that's coming out. 3 generations of women work together to pull off the heist of a lifetime and avenge a life taken too soon. It sounds great. I have absolutely no idea what to expect from Roxane Gay writing a comic. She's written Bad Feminist, which I have not read, but she also wrote Hunger, I think that's the name of it, which I read last year, and it is, if you want to read somebody's personal pain, go read Hunger. I don't know what to expect from this. I'll definitely be reading first issue. I'll probably buy it, but I don't quite know what to expect from it. So we have 2 realism type stories. I don't know what the sentient here doesn't look particularly. When the adults aboard a colony ship are killed, it's up to Valerie, the onboard AI, to help the ship's children survive. Jeff Lemire or Lemire, I don't know how to pronounce that. I think he did another one of these, or maybe I've just looked at this too long. Eve of Extinction: When a Virus Turns Men into Monsters, a group of women band together to survive. So here's me just being a guy. When a virus turns men into monsters, a group of women band together to survive. But it's written by men, so I don't know. I'm just looking back at the names here. Yeah, written by Salvatore Simeone and Steven Simeone. I don't know. One of the things I like about TKO is it's... I don't know if you can hear that out there. There's a lot of women doing good work on these titles. And one bad artist on 7 Deadly Sins. I should go look at RDM Trakhanov's other work, but his stuff in the 7 Deadly Sins just... it just doesn't work for me. I will stop saying that there. So I'm just going to check in with chat. I think I think I should probably not do stupid stuff like that. It's just stupid. Anyway, so I'm going to go back through here, and I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Well, so back up for a second. So one of the things that I had as a New Year's resolution, Cole and I are going to be streaming every Thursday. That's sort of a set thing. Actually, Cole won't be here this coming Thursday, although I think we're going to try and Skype him in because he's going to be in Saratoga Springs. I've added the Sunday morning Barnham Book Club to the streaming schedule. I think over the course of every Sunday through the year, I think there's 3 that are problematic, those dates. And next week, we're going to talk... next week, I was going to talk about a novel. I think I have to expand it to a couple novels, because as I was thinking about it, there's a theme with a couple novels that I've read over the past couple years. Women working in intelligence during the Second World War, including fake intelligence operations, counterintelligence, basically. But next week I'm also going to talk about the book club, this book club, trying to pick a book that we might try to read together in some form or fashion. You know, just so that we can all experience the things that a normal book club would experience. You know, people agreeing to read a book and not reading it. Someone showing up drunk, Cole. People, you know, saying they read the book, but not. And all that. If you've ever been in a book club, even if all you did was go to the first meeting of a book club and realize, oh, this is going nowhere. We're going to try and build a book club around all of that. And somebody will probably bring some crappy guacamole. I went to a party last night and somebody brought some crappy guacamole. So that's next week. Oh, so Thursday night, Sunday mornings. I think it's next Saturday morning that I'm going to start it. I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing some gaming on the stream, and I think I don't have the right graphic, but I'm going to start with some Slay the Spire. I'm going to start. I'm kidding. I'm going to start with some Slay the Spire. It's a roguelike game with some deck building type of elements to it. And it's a fun game. And I'm going to start... you know, I don't want to be a gaming streamer, but I like playing games. And I figure, you know, I could hang out with some cool people on the stream. Because I like all of you. I like all of you. That might be a Mixer-only stream. I may not push that to Facebook. But I'll figure that out. So, I think that starts next Saturday. I need to look at a couple things. And it'll probably be 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as well. I have to cough. Folks, I think that's gonna do it. I appreciate you joining. Everyone on Facebook, everyone on Mixer. I forgot to go check and see if anybody actually joined from YouTube, but I didn't see anybody chatting from YouTube. So, anyway, thank you all very much for joining. I hope you're liking this. I will drop the link to Discord one last time, because I do post show notes with links and, you know, other silly stuff over there. That's the Discord link. Anyway, I'm Big Ed Barnum. I thank you very much. I will see you next week. Cheers.